60.
How do you get more dairy in your diet? Hi, I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield. Don't skip breakfast, for one. Ashley Waters with the St. Louis District Dairy Council says there are ways to get milk in.
There's a lot of ways to incorporate milk into your breakfast, and we say it's the tried and true ingredient because it's really easy to mix milk in with your favorite cereal. It's a perfect partnership. You're getting the protein, but you're also getting 9 essential nutrients like protein as well as calcium and vitamin D, which are perfect for building bones. You can also make the switch. Choose milk over water when you're preparing hot cereals or oatmeal. It gives it a great texture and it adds that little bit of protein. Also, mixing it up, you can whip in milk, yogurt, and your favorite fruit and ice in a blender, which is very quick, very simple, and you can take it on the go. And the last one is you can stir it in. So we all love coffee in the morning, but stirring in some milk in the morning with that and a little shot of espresso can really help you get that nutrition that you need just from your coffee.
Plus, there's yogurt, cheese, and cottage cheese. Dietary guidelines recommend 3 servings of low-fat, fat-free milk or milk products every day. Water and the Future of Animal Agriculture, March 23rd through 26th in Indianapolis. Visit animalagriculture.org to register today. I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
Did you know that the CDC recommends up to 6 vaccines, even for healthy adults? Or that vaccines are part of a healthy lifestyle, just like eating well and exercising? Or that choosing not to get vaccinated may put your health at risk? There's a lot to know when it comes to vaccines. Get the facts by visiting vaccinesinu.com and talk to your doctor about which vaccines may be right for you. When it comes to your health, it pays to get the facts. Visit vaccinesinu.com for more information.
A public service of Healthy Women in Merck.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast, Today's Growth. Who would win a 3-mile bicycle race, an 11-year-old girl or last year's winner of the Tour de France? It all depends on the bicycle. It depends on their vehicle. Both on a 10-speed and the pro racer is going to win every time. But put the racer on a tricycle and the 11-year-old wins every time. You see, it's not the driver, it's the vehicle. When it comes to generating revenue, it's exactly the same. If you have a job or a small business, you are riding a tricycle. You can only go so fast. If you need to make up lost ground, it's not going to happen on a tricycle. No matter how fast you pedal, it's simply not going to win the race. Why do many people with no schooling and no advanced degree often become very wealthy? Simple. They choose to only ride 10 speeds. When it comes to helping people create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to putting people on a 10-speed. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
All right, this is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice for Dodge. Again, I want to tell you that there has been a fatal accident out on the Kenyon Road Bridge. That's very regrettable, but the Kenyon Road Bridge is going to be closed for a while, obviously. So if you need to go out that way, you'll have to find another way around. Again, the Kenyon Bridge has been closed for the time being. There's been a fatal accident out there. We don't like to hear that. But obviously they have some work to do out there. So again, if you need to go out the west side of town, you'll have to find another way, I guess. Joining me again this year, as he has for several years, and I'm always glad to talk with Jerry Beck of the Pheasants Forever Group. How are you, Jerry?
We're doing just absolutely great. Beautiful day out there, Mike.
It's a beautiful day. And
I hope Saturday is as good.
I hope so, too. I hope so, too, because Pheasants Forever Banquet's coming up.
Right.
Are we having it at the fairgrounds again this year?
We'll be out at the 4-H fairgrounds again this Saturday. Doors will open at 4:30. Dinner will be served at 6. Hy-Vee is catering again for us. We'll have a New York strip dinner.
Oh, okay.
And as in the past, a tradition of our chapter, we serve you the meal on china and real silverware. No plastic.
No plastic.
No plastic. That's been a tradition of ours for years. In addition, we also have our annual steak knife that we give away to the people. They can take home with them when they're done.
Mhm.
So it's something that we keep going all the time.
Well, that's excellent.
So good time is had by all.
Yes.
One thing I'd like to do ahead of time is make you an official member of our
Again.
committee. We
Thank
have
you.
one of our banquet hats for you this year.
Now, as I've told you before, and I've told other people attached to Pheasants Forever, anytime you need radio time, I'm certainly available.
I know you are, and we
Yes, sir.
appreciate that very much, Mike. Gets our story out and helps us along with the process.
I do want to, and we're going to talk about the banquet, of course, coming up this Saturday, as we just mentioned. And we're going to give away a couple of tickets, 2 tickets, Jerry.
That is correct.
All
We
right.
got 2 tickets for the banquet.
And we're going to give them one at a time, right?
Yes.
All right, one at a time. And we'll do that here in just a few minutes. But how is the pheasant population now?
According to everything that went last year, the fall was very, very good. We were doing real good this winter as far as habitat and weather conditions until here a few weeks ago when we had that big snow.
That was a nasty one.
Oh, it was a terrible one, and it kind of froze down, and the birds were having a real tough time, finding food.
Oh, you bet.
The guys I've talked to recently from various areas around here have said that they're still seeing a lot of birds. So apparently it didn't last long enough to where it did a lot of serious damage. I'm sure we did lose some.
Yeah.
So, but last year was real good as far as the numbers were up. Not like they used to be in the old heydays,
That's right.
but they're coming back in pretty good shape.
Oh gosh, I still think of that back before spring plowing.
Mhm.
You could walk across the field, get your limit, and go home.
Cool. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, many times you did that. A couple hours, you were done, and
Yeah,
so and that was the good old days,
those
as
are
they
the
say.
good. That was a long time ago.
And hopefully, with what our chapter does and the chapters for Pheasants Forever, basically, as you know, we're a habitat organization.
Sure.
Even though a lot of us are hunters and we enjoy going out, our main cause is to raise money to create habitat, purchase land if we can do it, and turn that into habitat. And we've done a pretty good job of that over the years. Last year, I think, as I mentioned, we had received our $1,250,000 award for habitat projects and monies that we had raised and put into it. One of the nice things we had this year, we had notification of all the chapters in the nation that put in over 50,000 in habitat, not purchase the land, but just in habitat projects. We ranked 12th in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a pretty good deal for little Webster County, Iowa.
Oh, Webster County. That was Webster County,
Iowa only.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the state.
No,
that's outstanding.
we were 12th in the nation. We had a little over $81,000 in projects that we were involved in last year. So,
Wow.
So very, very good. Nice credos to our group and the guys that work. And we wouldn't do it if people didn't come to the banquet and spend their money.
Yeah.
That's what we get, for the raffles, the prizes, the games, etc. So that's the key to it. This is our big money raiser.
All right. This is Jerry Beck is our guest, of course, and I got a trivia question for you. What's the lifespan of a pheasant in Iowa? Does anybody know that one? Does anybody know that? If they do, 515-955-1400.
It all depends whether you shoot them or not.
Well, that's exactly. Getting shot has to be taken into consideration.
That I can't answer for you.
I've heard it's 3 years if they die of old age.
Okay.
But I don't know about that for sure. If anybody really knows, 515-955-1400. You can call that number, by the way, to win a ticket to the 34th annual banquet, Pheasants Forever Banquet. And that, of course, is at the Webster County Ag Center, Webster County Fairgrounds. And that is coming up this Saturday, March 23rd. Good afternoon. You're on the air. What's the lifespan of a pheasant?
Well, I was told once 3.5 years.
Yeah, I heard 3 years myself. I heard 3 years, but 3.5, that sounds good. What town are you calling from?
I'm out in the country over by Canerum.
All right. Hey, thanks for your call.
Hey, any chance I can get a shot at one of those tickets?
Yes, you can. But I can't give it to you right now. I'm gonna have the fifth caller here in just a couple of minutes. So Stay by your phone, okay?
All right, thank
All
you.
right, thank you, sir. I'm sorry. I wish we had another ticket. I'd have given it to him.
Yeah. Well, now we know the answer to that. So.
Yeah, 3.5 years average lifespan.
Okay.
But anyway, we're talking the 34th annual banquet. The tickets are $50 each. That includes a membership. Ring neck is $20. That includes membership. That's for young guys, right?
Yeah, up to
Young
age
people.
18.
Sponsor Top Gun is $500. Sponsor Bird Dog is $250. Sportsman's package is $100. Spouse $25. Visa, MasterCard accepted at the 34th annual Webster County Pheasants Forever banquet Saturday, starting at 4:30. Dinner at 6. Auction and raffles, all that sort of stuff. Now, I hope my friend from Kinnearon's paying attention.
Yeah.
The fifth caller at 515-955-1400 wins one free ticket to the Pheasants Forever banquet Saturday night. You have to come to the radio station and get it. We're at 200 North 10th Street. We're easy to find, right downtown Fort Dodge, right at the corner of 2nd Avenue North and 10th Street. The old Dow Insurance Building. If you've been around Fort Dodge for a while, you know where I'm talking about. Or right across the street from Community Health on one side, and then we've got, well, it's St. Edmund football field now, but it used to be the old North Junior High football field, or Phillips Middle School, or whatever it is lately. I guess way back it was a Fort Dodge Senior High.
Yes, it was years and years ago.
Anyway, 515-955-1400. If you want to take a shot at winning this Pheasants Forever ticket. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. You're the winner. What's your name?
This is Alan Howie
From Kinnearon, I bet.
from Kinnearon.
I'm glad you won, Alan.
I am too.
What's how do you spell your last name?
Howey.
Okay. What's your address, Alan?
2209 York Avenue.
York.
And the mailing address is actually Summers.
The mailing address is Summers.
Yep.
Well, we'll write that down and / Kinnearon. Okay, you have to come into town here to get the ticket. So if you can do that, again, we're at 200 North 10th Street, Fort Dodge.
I'm in there every day.
All right. Yeah, before 4 o'clock tomorrow, okay?
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, sir. All right. Well, I'm glad.
How about that?
That's great. That's great stuff. Alan Howard, congratulations. Let's do that again as long as we're rocking and rolling here. The number is 515-955-1400, and what we're giving here is a ticket to the Webster County Pheasants Forever banquet coming up this Friday night. It's a $50 prize. So
Saturday night.
Or Saturday night.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. What did I say?
You said Friday.
Oh, I'm sorry. Saturday the 23rd. Open it up at 4:30. Good afternoon. You're on the air. What's your name?
Gary?
Gary what?
Gary Meyer?
Gary Meyer, Meyer?
Meier.
IER. Okay. What's your address, Gary?
Gilmore City.
Okay. You got a street address, or what do you got?
Yep. 515-86 300th Avenue.
I'm sorry. Say that again. I missed you.
515-86 300th Avenue.
515-86 300th Avenue, Gilmore City.
Yep.
All right. So we're at 200 North 10th Street here in Fort Dodge. Just float by before 4 o'clock tomorrow and pick up your ticket.
Right.
And thanks for listening. I hope you have a great time at the Pheasants Forever banquet on Saturday night.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sir. AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. That was easy.
Yeah, that went pretty good.
Of course, you give away something worth $50 on the phone. All you have to do is make a phone call.
That's right. That's right. It works out good. So
Alan Howery of Kinnearon, Summers, whatever you want to say, won a ticket, and so did Gary Meyer of Gilmore City. So there we go. There we go.
All right, we got
Just
him.
don't leave the building and forget to give me the tickets, Jerry, because if those guys show up tomorrow and I
I've
ain't
got them
the
right here,
ticket-
and I've got their name written on it.
Oh, you've got the whole thing
So-
taken care of.
So they have their number tickets. So this will be their bid ticket if they want to buy anything at the banquet or do any
I
of the
see.
raffles.
Yeah, that is.
So-
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What you usually have a couple shotguns anyway.
We will have several this year. It looks
Okay.
like right now with the last count, we're going to be between 45 and 50
Really?
guns that we'll be giving away. Our big raffle again this year is our 20 gun raffle.
20
And
gun raffle.
20 gun raffle. And we're selling, and that is a pre-banquet raffle, so you do not have to be in attendance to win. We have quite a few. The average cost of the guns right around $800 to $900.
Okay.
The two big ones we have a Browning A5 Sweet 16,
That's a
which
nice
they brought
gun.
that one back. That's about a $1,700 gun.
Yeah.
And we have a Browning Silver Hunter, which is about a $1,200 gun. And then a lot of them in between. We do have a few rifles and a few handguns on it also.
Sure.
Every game that we have that they play, like the cooler, the ping pong, and all this type of thing, every one of those, the main prize is a gun.
Great.
So, and they're good, high quality guns, no cheapies.
The Browning is a good model.
Yes, it is, and we have a lot of good things in the area. We have a youth raffle table this year again, and the main prize on that for a youth attending is a $250 gift certificate to Iowa Outdoors, so they can get a hunting outfit.
Iowa Outdoor Store.
Iowa Outdoor Store here in Fort Dodge.
Yeah, good group.
And they have their choice of either a Remington 870 youth model shotgun or a Hoyt bow.
Okay.
To go along with that. So if they're not a pheasant hunter, but maybe a deer hunter with the bow and arrow, they can have their choice of which they want. Whatever they don't take, we will draw another name and that youth will receive it.
You ever a bow hunter, Jerry?
Years and years ago. And actually enjoyed it. I deer hunted at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, the first day I went out with some friends of mine, they talked me into it. I shot a nice 8-point buck.
You did?
Yeah. Then after that, my boys started to grow up, got involved in school things, and deer hunting with a bow and arrow takes a lot of time.
It does. It
And,
does. I know a couple guys love to sit out there in those deer stands.
Yeah.
They're just quiet and everything is quiet.
You know, it's just like turkey hunting in the spring.
Yeah.
It's a very quiet time. Really, any outdoors activity like that, people don't realize how much fun it is to sit there and watch nature come alive and see things. That's part of the fun of it, whether you shoot anything or not. Some of the best times I had with my boys was in a duck boat. We may never shot a duck or a goose coming in, but it was a great time to spend with your kids.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know what we're looking at doing here with our habitat, creating land that's in habitat for the birds and all nature's creatures, so to speak, is for the future.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we don't do it now, there's not going to be anything here. And I think, as I mentioned to you before, we haven't gained on the big little state out east. Right now, Iowa ranks 49th again in the amount of land available for public use.
Well, that doesn't.
And Rhode Island beats us, believe it or not.
I believe it. Well, Rhode Island doesn't have corn and soybeans.
No, they don't.
You know?
So, but still, it's right now we have a very, very small portion of land available to public use. And I know there's some criticism once in a while to, you know, take the land out of production, et cetera. But, you know, you'll find most of the land that we get involved with is low volume land anyhow, that you get a crop 1 out of 10 years on it. The rest of it, like this year, it's probably going to be a swamp the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And
could be.
A lot of times this is what gets put into the habitat area for us. So we look to everything we can do to create as much habitat as we can. The other thing I want to mention, Mike, is that we give 2 $1,000 scholarships to Webster County students that are graduating that want to go into any habitat related, whether park ranger, forestry, you know, any type of area in that education. So those are available, and the forms are available at all the schools. We have them there. And those are 2 every year. We give away 2 $1,000 scholarships.
And they could use that to go to any school anywhere?
Any school they want to go to. Right now we have a young man that's going up in South Dakota at school, and he has requested, we gave him again this year. We didn't have hardly any applicants, so we approved him for this current school year.
Well, that's nice.
So it's good deal for the kids.
It is.
And with the cost of education, I guess they need all the help they can get.
You know, a couple guys around the state had, they turned part of their farm ground into places where guys could go to hunt pheasant. They'd put pheasants out. Do we still have those around or not?
I think I know of 1 or 2 that are still here. There's one up, I think, by Kanawha.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another one down south somewhere. And of course, they stock them at that point. And I guess you go down, you can shoot hens as well as roosters.
Yeah.
And, but
on private land like that.
It's private land. They of course are governed by some rules as to what they can do, and the birds have to be banded. So, you know that, because they could do it any time of the year, even though it isn't pheasant season.
They can.
Yep.
There used to be a place up by Fenton, Iowa. You know where Fenton is? Way up northwest.
Yep.
Little town. One of the farmers up there, Gene Hanna was his name. And he had a place up there that, I don't know how many acres he set aside, but he had it stocked with pheasants, and he'd guarantee you, I think. I don't know if that's that. This has been 10 years ago, or maybe more than that. I don't know if he's still in the business or not.
Yeah. A lot of them will do that. They'll put out so many birds, and you better be able to hit them.
That's right. Here, they got your name on it,
Yes,
but you got to be able to hit them.
Yep.
So
if you don't get them, that's your problem.
that's right. That's fair enough.
Yep, it sure is. It sure is.
All right, Jerry Beck is our guest with Pheasants Forever. How long you been a part of Pheasants Forever? I've been doing this show 10 years. I think you've been coming in here.
I started back initially back in the late 80s.
Okay.
And then about in the 90s, was president for a few years. And I think I've been banquet chairman and treasurer for, I hate to say how many years. It's been a long time.
That's all right.
But it's fun. I enjoy it. It's like everything else in life, Mike. If you don't enjoy what you're doing or enjoy the group, you won't do it.
Well, that's true. Some things you have to do when you're younger and got a family, but you and I are past that point in life. So,
yes.
If we don't like doing it, let's get out of it now and find something we do like doing.
And as long as your health holds up and everything else.
That's right.
That's the main key to it.
I have to admit, walking across the field is not as easy as it used to be, Jerry.
Well, let me say this. I become kind of a little bit of a blocker at times.
That's been my job for a number of years now.
Walking through the heavy cover, that's the young man's job. I've done my tour of duty there.
That's right. Jerry Beck has been our guest with Pheasants Forever. And again, the Pheasants Forever 34th Annual Pheasants Forever Banquet this Saturday night, starting at 4:30 at the Webster County Fairgrounds. Thank you, Jerry.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it.
AM 1400 KVFD.
Congratulations to Good Samaritan Society Manson on their recent 5-star rating awarded by the Federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Good Samaritan Manson received a perfect 5-star rating for their outstanding health inspection results, staffing ratios, and quality of care. Their compassionate and dedicated team of employees sets them apart from other senior living centers in the area. To learn more, visit good-sam.com or drop by anytime. Good Samaritan Society Manson, when someone you care about needs caring for.
In today's economy, it just makes sense to plan ahead. At Historic Bruce Funeral Home, pre-planning your funeral arrangements can save you money. By planning ahead, you can secure your arrangements at today's prices, no matter when our services are needed. Pre-planning your funeral is one of the most thoughtful things you can do for your family. Call us for details. Historic Bruce Funeral Home, Fort Dodge. Online at brucesfuneralhome.com.
Take the worry out of winter with a winter weather advisor on KVFD, brought to you by Community Health Center Fort Dodge, offering dental, behavioral health, and general medical assistance for men, women, and children. They're committed to your well-being. Community Health Center. Get to know them. And Creative Cakes, making life sweet with espresso, lunch, gourmet cupcakes, and other sweet treats. Creative Cakes in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge. They make life sweet. Listen for the winter weather advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Take us to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for the station so we can go wherever you want us to.
Spring is right around the corner, and DSOC, as well as the Keon Central, is in need of your gently used furniture. So when you're doing your spring cleaning, think of us. We can pick up items if needed, and all donations are tax deductible. Also, don't forget our 24th annual DSOC cake auction being held on April 13th at the Iowa Central East Campus. If you would like to support our cause by providing an auction item or a cake, please call 955-2273. Thank you for helping us continue to provide free and confidential services to our community.
I'm Dave Ramsey. Join me every Monday through Friday afternoon from 5 to 8 p.m. on AM 1400 KVFD Fort Dodge.
Nearly 2/3 of the U.S. at some risk of flooding. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That warning in the new spring report from government forecasters as flooding and evacuations roll on in parts of the Midwest. This Missouri resident not sure if he'll have a home or a town when the water eventually recedes.
I don't know if Watson's going to be a town anymore because there's like 4 houses that were just happen to be higher than the rest of town. everybody else has got water.
Levees breached in Missouri, Nebraska, and Iowa. NOAA's spring outlook predicting flooding could continue into May because of ongoing snowmelt and rain, the worst of it along the Missouri and Mississippi rivers. President Trump says he is defending American students with an executive order aimed at protecting free speech on college campuses. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Lisa, the president's order comes with a caveat of the possible loss of federal funding, which could impact $35 billion in higher education grants. The president said free speech is a concept under siege.
These universities have tried to restrict free thought, impose total conformity, and shut down the voices of great young Americans.
Some conservative groups say the order guarantees free expression, but many universities have pushed back, saying it's unnecessary due to existing policies. The order also seeks to provide better student loan information and repayment plans, Lisa.
Gernal, thanks. Just getting word of a guilty plea from a Florida man accused of sending a wave of pipe bombs to prominent critics of President Trump and CNN. Cesar Sayoc just appearing before a federal judge in New York. He had been scheduled to go on trial this summer on charges of mailing explosives to 16 targets in all. No bombs exploded, but each new report of a device heightened the tension in the weeks before last year's midterm elections. This is Fox News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Is before the Israeli prime minister visits the White House, President Trump is recognizing Israel's sovereignty over the disputed Golan Heights, which was seized from Syria in 1967.
President Trump has just made history. I called him. I thanked him on behalf of the people of Israel.
Netanyahu alongside Secretary of State Mike Pompeo after a second day of meetings in Israel. Pompeo insisting the timing is not about Israeli politics. Netanyahu currently fighting for re-election while battling corruption charges. One of the latest efforts to ban abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected is signed into law by Mississippi's governor.
Pro-choice activists call the bill blatantly unconstitutional, saying they will sue the state to block the law. There is belief that laws such as these could pose serious challenges to the U.S. Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade decision.
Fox's Evan Brown, a fetal heartbeat can be detected as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy. A bittersweet day for one of baseball's greats.
Ichiro has his swan song where it all began.
Well, the great Ichiro Suzuki stays in this game. Wait a minute. Scott Service has come out.
Audio courtesy of ESPN. The Seattle Mariners outfielder pulled off the field in the 8th inning of Thursday's game at the Tokyo Dome against the Oakland Athletics as the 27-year veteran of Japanese professional and Major League Baseball announced his retirement. Ichiro met with a lengthy standing ovation in his native Japan. He exits the majors a 10-time All-Star, winning American League Rookie of the Year and MVP back in 2001. Ichiro with 3,089 hits over a 19-year career in the big leagues. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Some heartbreakers already in the opening round of college basketball's March Madness. New Mexico losing by just a point to Auburn. The other early winners are LSU, Florida State, and Minnesota. Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alice Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Captain Ryan Grunberg of the Fort Dodge Police Department reports that Kenyon Road Bridge in Fort Dodge has been reopened after a fatal accident closed the bridge for over an hour this afternoon, and there were 2 reported injuries. I'll have the details on tomorrow's morning news. Marion County man Jason Carter was found not guilty on Thursday in the 2015 murder of his mother, Shirley Carter. Stay tuned to Alpha Media for more information. A plan to renovate Olson Park in Fort Dodge will have to be delayed, according to Fort Dodge City Council member Terry Menke. Menke talked about the project yesterday on the Divine Intervention Show.
Plans, the engineer's estimate on the phases 3, 4, 5, which is basically those three. There's several different phases to the park reconstruction over the next few years have been plotted out. The engineer's estimate was $380,000 to $430,000 for what we had asked for and designed. Low bid came in at $866,000, so twice plus a little bit of what the engineer's estimate was. So needless to say, that's not going to go very far because we do not have the money set aside for that. The money we have set aside, we had budgeted in the GEO bond about $950,000, but that was going to cover a lot more than what's up for bid right now. It's going to delay the construction, delay the work.
The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has awarded Iowa funding to help the homeless in the state. Iowa Finance Authority spokesperson Ashley Jarrett says it will help what's called the Continuum of Care program, which will fund 47 homelessness assistance initiatives.
Highly competitive. Iowa was awarded $9.5 million statewide, which is an increase, and that's really to a credit of our amazing partners throughout the state that run these service programs for Iowans that need the help most to get back on their feet again.
Jared says the funding to Iowa has been increasing in recent years, and that is because the organizations have done a good job of showing the need. Authorities have released the name of a 70-year-old man whose body was found inside the charred remains of a house in central Iowa. The Des Moines Register reports that the body's been identified as that of Santos Guadalupe Calderon Alvarado. Firefighters found his body January 24th following an overnight fire in his home northwest of Boone. Boone County Sheriff's Deputy Andy Godzicki says Calderon Alvarado likely died of carbon monoxide poisoning in his sleep the night of the fire. He says investigators think the fire was started after something went wrong with the homemade wood-burning stove that Calderon Alvarado was using to heat the house. Godzicki says 4 or 5 dogs also died in the fire. Others escaped. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD Weatherology forecast. Clear skies and quiet this afternoon with highs around 54. West winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, lows level off around 28. Highs around 48. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine outside. Mainly sunny skies and calm. Saturday with highs in the mid-50s. Chance for scattered rain showers Sunday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 50.
Take the worry out of winter with a winter weather advisor on KVFD, brought to you by Community Health Center Fort Dodge, offering dental, behavioral health, and general medical assistance for men, women, and children. They're committed to your well-being. Community Health Center. Get to know them. And Creative Cakes, making life sweet with espresso, lunch, gourmet cupcakes, and other sweet treats. Creative Cakes in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge. They make life sweet. Listen for the winter weather advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
This is Chris Heslop with Star Energy FS. If your business doesn't stop for cold weather, neither should your equipment. The professionals at Star Energy FS know that performance counts. SureFlow keeps your fuel flowing by preventing ice and wax molecules from plugging filters and fuel lines. Minimize your downtime and protect your engines all winter long. FS SureFlow delivers strong cold temperature performance, improved fuel efficiency, and optimum lubricity. Contact your FS specialist today about SureFlow, diesel fuel cold flow improver.
Thrifty White Community Health Corner. Immunizations are not just for kids. Adults should keep their vaccinations up to date as well. Thrifty White Pharmacy's certified immunization pharmacists can vaccinate against shingles, measles, pneumonia, and more. Staying up to date on your vaccines can keep you healthy and prevent diseases from affecting your family and your community. Visit your local Thrifty White Pharmacy. Our knowledgeable pharmacy staff is here to help determine which vaccines are right for you.
Congratulations to Good Samaritan Society Manson on their recent 5-star rating awarded by the Federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Good Samaritan Manson received a perfect 5-star rating for their outstanding health inspection results, staffing ratios, and quality of care. Their compassionate and dedicated team of employees sets them apart from other senior living centers in the area. To learn more, visit good-sam.com or drop by anytime. Good Samaritan Society Manson, when someone you care about needs caring for.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at JMike1400.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I had it screwed up last hour, but we are definitely going to welcome to the program Dwight Dial of the Lake City area. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Well, I'm delighted, Mr. Dial. You are a farmer and a part-time school teacher. Is that your job?
Well, I substitute.
You substitute, okay.
I used to teach.
You used to teach, okay. I thought about teaching, but I realized I couldn't handle the kids. I wanted to attack, so it was good that I did this job.
Well, it keeps me young.
There you
and
go.
I tell everybody it keeps my immunity up. So.
Those are important things, Mr. Dial. I had the pleasure of meeting Dwight Dial last Friday night at the Lake City Country Club during a meeting or a gathering of the Iowa corn growers in that area. And Representative Mike Sexton was there, and Senator Tim Kreinbrink was there. As a matter of fact, I rode over with Senator Kreinbrink. And the Mid-Am situation that I've been talking about with David Osterberg came up. And Mr. Dial is the one who addressed this particular situation. Now, I'm going to let you describe what your relationship is with Mid-Am and how you're charged or not charged for energy that you try to sell back to Mid-Am, because you can do it better than I can. So if you would do that for us now, I would certainly appreciate it.
Yes, I am received my energy source from Mid-America. And a year ago, about this time, I was approached by one of the solar providers about looking at solar energy. And they told me, because I was with Mid-America, Mid-America was receptive to connecting onto solar units. And I went through a process of several different companies and settled on one. And we went online July 6th. And Mid-America, through the process, you have to go through quite a lengthy process to get certified to be able to do this. And in the process, Mid-America has a contract. And in that contract, which is one of the issues that's come up when we've been told that we're freeloaders on the line, I went back to the contract because I knew that part of the contract that we agreed to was any excess energy that was provided or that I had generated, I had to provide to Mid-America back through their line, and I had to give half of them at no charge.
So the energy that you stored and you conserved and were going to put back on the Mid-America grid, they wanted half of that right off the bat, and now they want transmission line costs as well. Is that where we're going?
Yeah, and it's called iCare contribution. And you sign whether you're going to give them 50%, 75%, or 100% by default. And that was part of the contract, the agreement that we had to do that in order to be able to have Mid-America allow us to have solar energy and a feedback and forth between the two of us.
Now, is that a state or federal law that allows Mid-American to charge that much right off the top for stored energy sold back to their grid?
Well, they have underlying electric tariff.
Electric tariff?
Electric tariff.
That's an interesting term.
Yes, and I have no problem giving half of my excess to whomever. I know that there are needy people out there, and I know that we provide, a reduction in fees for them. But my complaint is with Mid-America over this latest attempt by Mid-America to tax us even further, is that how much more do you need? I don't know by the end of 1 year, because that doesn't even come until this July, how much excess I will have produced. But I do know that I also had to sign in this contract that they determine how much they will pay me back on the other half.
They determine.
That is totally up to them as to deciding what that was worth.
So they're taking half, and Mid-Am is then deciding on their own how much they'll pay you for the other half.
Correct.
That's great, isn't it? By the way, you do know that Iowa Cares business that Mid-American has got going on, that's the appearance of looking good while allowing someone else, in this case, farmers like yourself, to pay for helping people with lesser resources. Mid-American is trying to make themselves look good, but what they're doing is raking in the profits and allowing, again, people like you to fund Iowa Cares. Mid-American, I just really wonder how much they're really contributing to Iowa Cares and how much sympathy they really have for people of very few resources.
Well, and I asked that question at the onset. I said, how much does Mid-America actually give? And I received no response.
I bet you didn't, Dwight.
since this time, starting in the first of the year, now they've added on, and I pay every month. I want people to know that by putting up a solar array to generate the energy for my farm, house, hog buildings, everything, I still pay an average of about $180 a month. But my bills have ranged as high as $700 and some a month.
Whoa!
During the summer months, of which my generated energy, I have been able to reduce that so that in the last 7 months of operation, I've reduced my average monthly cost by a little over $280 a month.
Okay, I want to review here just again because it kind of blows my mind. And our guest is Dwight Dial, who's who I just had the pleasure of meeting the other night, and he's on the phone with us now from the Lake City area. And this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Just to review, Mr. Dial, a farmer, is allowed to sell back stored energy to Mid-America because he has solar panels out on the farm. Now, Mid-Am takes half of it for free. They then
the excess.
That's right.
Right.
The excess, right. Takes half the excess for free. And then tells Mr. Dial and probably everybody what they'll pay for the other half of the excess.
Correct.
Now they want to charge Mr. Dial and others, small producers, by the way, for their transmission lines. And they have some hokey outfit called Iowa Cares, making them look good. And all this is about is Mid-America's greed. Now, these are my words, not Mr. Dial's. Mr. Dial probably wouldn't use quite as harsh of language as I am. But it irritates me when there are groups called Citizens for Health. I'm sure you've never heard of Citizens for Health, Mr. Dial, but they're a public.
I've heard of a lot of groups, but I've not heard of Citizens for Health.
Citizens for Health is a lobbying firm in New York City, high-powered lawyers and public relations people who lobby the federal government on behalf of 5 huge sugar growers in Florida. They want to keep, first of all, subsidies to these sugar growers, and they want to get rid of any ethanol-related sweeteners or corn-related sweeteners. They are a lobbying group for sugar growers. End of story. Sugar, of course, has no food value whatsoever, but that's not the point. They're trying to protect 5 families who control a lot of sugar production in Florida, and the name of their group, sir, Citizens for Health. So I would love to know a little bit more about who funds Iowa Cares, and if Mid-America is really making a contribution on its own, or it's Iowa Cares is really being funded through Mid-America from people like you, Mr. Dial, small producers out on the farm.
A couple other items that I'm not sure people are aware of. Starting at the first of the year, in my billing, I received another line item, which is entitled Energy Efficiency Charge. Energy Efficiency Charge.
Thank you.
So what I'm wanting to know is now I'm being charged for being efficient. Is that correct?
I don't know, sir. Is that what they said?
I don't know. This is something that they put through, obviously, the regulators to be able to tack on, which it amounts to about $12 a month. But I look at that and I'm going to go, that about 8% of my bill I'm getting now another charge for energy efficiency, and I thought that's what I was doing. I was being efficient by putting in solar.
What kind of solar panels do you have? Do you have livestock or just on your home or?
Yes, this runs everything on my farm.
Okay.
Livestock, all the electrical on my farm, it completely generates for.
All of the electrical on your farm.
And it generates about 39.5 K a year, which that's an average size. There, it varies, but there are a lot larger solar, units than this out there. Another thing, Mike, is just prior to, I had to also sign in the contract. It states in there if there is an upgrade needed on my line out here, that I had to pay for that. And they put in a new power pole, the first one in 40 years since I've been on the farm that they put a new pole on the line. And they also put in the unit, on the pole to my site. And this bill was $2,840.
They made you pay for the pole and the transmission line upgrade?
They made me pay for the upgrade, but when I asked, now I own the pole, correct, and all the electrical apparatuses attached. And they said, no, you only own from your main pole on your building site. We own the lines and everything else leading to and from that. And I said, but I just paid $2,840 for this. And they said, well, that's your upgrade charge. So I want people to understand that, no, we're not a freeloading out here. These come at a cost. And again, I want to reiterate, I pay every single month, and there are about 10 fees that I pay to Mid-America.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but Senator Tim Kreinbrink, who's a great guy, he's voted for the Mid-Am proposal that would allow Mid-Am to charge farmers like yourself for transmission line use. So, Senator,
it passed the Senate yesterday.
right. But Representative Sexton has not voted or given a position, mainly because I haven't asked him. And if he comes tomorrow, I'll certainly ask him, and I'll ask Representative Ann Meyer as well.
I had sent the information on to Representative Sexton. He has my total contract.
He has your total contract.
Reference the pages where the iCares charge was put in, and also the contract that they have the option as to how much they're going to pay me back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would urge you to Google iCares Mid-American and see about this. See what they have to say about Iowa Cares. I bet they don't say anything about Mid-American making a real significant contribution. If they are, they're making it with somebody else's money. And by the way, this attempt to get something done legislatively is an end around the Iowa Utilities Board, because the Iowa Utilities Board probably wouldn't grant it. I don't know why this is.
I don't think they would, because they're already receiving fees from everybody that is connected to, Mid-America. I mean, it's not, again, we pay every single month, and people are going, well, you're freeloading. No, we're not. We're actually paying every single month a fee. and then they've added some additional fees to it. So, and we're actually generating power for them. And this is one thing I explained to you, Mike, that it wasn't my thought, but after we got to talking about it, it made sense. why didn't Mid-America come to us and say, let's expand your solar array so that we can generate more power like their windmills do on your building site to, make them more. And that was a good question. And I said, that was something I never thought about.
That is interesting.
And, they pay every operator or every landowner gets paid to have the windmill put on their operation. Mid-America could probably have struck a deal with all of us, put more of an array on our operation without a tremendous additional cost.
Well, as long as Mid-Am executives, and I'm assuming this, most executives in most companies get a year-end bonus if a lot of money comes in, that they make it rain, so to speak. The more money they can bring into Mid-Am, the more the year-end bonus for top executives. That's what this is really about. This isn't.
Well, the other question I think that brings up too is somebody needs to question. Everybody that's on an energy grid out here really only has one source. They only have one company available to them. If you're REC, that's the only one you're going to get.
Right.
And Mid-America is the only one that I'm going to get. I'm not complaining that I have Mid-America, but that's the only option I have. And unlike phone companies, satellite companies, those have all been, one time you only had one option. Now you have multiple options. And I'm beginning to wonder if the energy companies shouldn't be looked at seriously the same way.
Well, it is a public utility, and they sound like a private business. They don't sound like a public utility answering to the people of the state of Iowa, or at least to their customers.
Well, they provide a service, but I think the thing that people need to ask is, how much of a recourse do we have?
It sounds like none right now.
No.
Am I mistaken or not? You have no recourse, right?
No, I think, you're looking at a monopolistic approach to, electrical power.
And that's something we don't like.
You only have that one choice.
Well, I hope you've made your argument to Representative Sexton. I know you did quite well at the Lake City Country Club, and I was certainly in the crowd listening with rapt attention. I knew I couldn't remember everything you were saying, so I'm so glad that you agreed to come on the air with us and talk about it, Mr. Dial. And it was my great pleasure to meet you, and I hope we can speak again.
I thank you, Mike, for the time, and I hope the listeners out there understand that we, the producers out here that are trying to reduce their expenditure by putting up solar arrays or windmills or whatever, are fighting to stay what we call sustainable agriculture.
Yes. We're
fighting to figure out ways so that we can continue to operate year to year. This was one that I looked at because it had a quick payback. You could get it taken care of. It was a smart move. But now that I've done it, Mid-America wants to come in and add on more taxes to make it less sustainable.
Well,
I don't understand that. I just don't understand that at all.
Well, if they're a for-profit company that's not answerable to anyone, that would make it understandable, I guess. And
I don't understand Senator Kreinbrink's position on this, because he had to have heard the producers out here that are begging, especially on REC, to be able to do this.
Well,
and nobody's listening.
No, well, this is something. Mid-Am's got a lot of money, and I'm sure they're spreading it around the Republican side of the aisles. And I'm a big fan of Tim Kreinbrink. I like him personally, but believe me, the next time I have him on air, I'll certainly ask him on your behalf.
I appreciate that.
All right, Mr. Dial, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. We've been talking with Dwight Dial, a farmer from Lake City.
There's a ton of potential in your field. Tap into it with Extract from Nutrient Ag Solutions. Extract works for you by driving mineralization in soils and unlocking nutrients found in crop residues through powerful biocatalyst reactions, allowing you to tap deeper into your existing bank. From no-till to full-till, Extract is designed to help you tap the potential of your fields this year. Contact your Nutrient Ag Solutions crop consultant today to learn how Extract can work for you too.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Captain Ryan Grunberg of the Fort Dodge Police Department reports that Kenyon Road Bridge in Fort Dodge has been reopened after a fatal accident closed the bridge for over an hour this afternoon, and there were 2 reported injuries. I'll have the details on tomorrow's morning news. Marion County man Jason Carter was found not guilty on Thursday in the 2015 murder of his mother, Shirley Carter. Stay tuned to Alpha Media for more information. A plan to renovate Olson Park in Fort Dodge will have to be delayed, according to Fort Dodge City Council member Terry Menke. Menke talked about the project yesterday on the Divine Intervention Show.
Plans, the engineer's estimate on the phases 3, 4, 5, which is basically those 3. There's several different phases to the park reconstruction over the next few years have been plotted out. The engineer's estimate was $380,000 to $430,000 for what we had asked for in design. Low bid came in at $866,000, so twice plus a little bit of what the engineer's estimate was. So needless to say, that's not going to go very far because we do not have the money set aside for that. The money we have set aside, we had budgeted in the GEO bond about $950,000, but that was going to cover a lot more than what's up for bid right now. It's going to delay the construction, delay the work.
The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has awarded Iowa funding to help the homeless in the state. Iowa Finance Authority spokesperson Ashley Jarrett says it will help what's called the Continuum of Care program, which will fund 47 homelessness assistance initiatives.
It's highly competitive. Iowa was awarded $9.5 million statewide, which is an increase, and that's really to a credit of our amazing partners throughout the state that run these service programs for Iowans that need the help most to get back on their feet again.
Jared says the funding to Iowa has been increasing in recent years, and that is because the organizations have done a good job of showing the need. Authorities have released the name of a 70-year-old man whose body was found inside the charred remains of a house in central Iowa. The Des Moines Register reports that the body's been identified as that of Santos Guadalupe Calderon Alvarado. Firefighters found his body January 24th following an overnight fire in his home northwest of Boone. Boone County Sheriff's Deputy Andy Godzicki says Calderon Alvarado likely died of carbon monoxide poisoning in his sleep the night of the fire. He says investigators think the fire was started after something went wrong with the homemade wood-burning stove that Calderon Alvarado was using to heat the house. Godzicki says 4 or 5 dogs also died in the fire. Others escaped. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Clear skies and quiet this afternoon with highs around 54. West winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, lows level off around 28. Highs around 48. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine outside. Mainly sunny skies and calm Saturday with highs in the mid-50s. Chance for scattered rain showers Sunday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 50.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. May corn up 4 3/4 at 376 1/4. July up 4 1/2 at 385 1/2. September corn up 3 3/4 at 391 3/4. December up 3 1/4 at 398 3/4. May soybeans up 4 1/2 at 910 1/2. July up 4 3/4 at 924 1/4. August up 4 1/4 at 930 1/4. November up 4 1/2 at 944 3/4. May wheat closed up 1 3/4 at 466 1/2. Soybean meal up 370 a ton at 315.30. April live cattle up 32 at 129.90. June up 52 at 123.90. March feeder cattle up 52 cents at 142.77. April up 60 cents at 148.92. April lean hogs closed up the 450 limit to end the day at 78.32. May up 445 at 86.60.
From From the Fox Business Network, on Wall Street, stocks ending higher, led by gains in Apple, with the Dow closing up 217 points, the Nasdaq up 110, S&P 500 up 31. And after the closing bell, Nike reporting earnings and revenue in line with Wall Street expectations. And shares of Biogen losing more than a quarter of its value today after the drug maker said it would discontinue trials of its Alzheimer's drug, which is a setback to efforts to find treatments for the disease. The news sending the stock plunging more than 28%, with Biogen losing about $18 billion in market value. And a return to Wall Street by iconic jeans maker Levi Strauss. Its shares closing up nearly 32% above its initial price offering of $17, giving the company a market value of over $8.5 billion. The 165-year-old company returning to the public market after descendants of company founder Levi Strauss took the jeans company private back in 1985. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Hillary Barsky.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. 30% of Americans who are planning home improvements of $5,000 or more will pay for those renovations with a high-interest credit card. That may not be a great idea. A better idea may be to take cash out of your home with a Quicken Loans 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.5%, APR 4.78%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
I'm Jamie Brundage, owner of Historic Bruce Funeral Home. We're a full-service funeral home with an off-site crematory. At Bruce's, we specialize in pre-arrangements and family support before, during, and after the service. We also offer beautiful memorial items to help you remember your loved one forever. Bruce Funeral Home is proud to be by your side every step of the way throughout the funeral process. Historic Bruce Funeral Home, Fort Dodge.
This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's, 4:37, excuse me. I try to sneak a snack while I'm on the air. Sometimes it doesn't work out all that well. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the Historic Bruce's Funeral Home. And the Historic Bruce's Funeral Home is at 923 First Avenue South here in Fort Dodge. You may contact the Historic Bruce's Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucesfuneralhome.com. Mark Kennedy of Humboldt, but formerly of Fort Dodge, has passed away. He died yesterday at his home following a brief illness. Mark Kennedy is survived by his brother Scott, and he was preceded in death by his parents, H.T. Kennedy Jr. and Shirley Kennedy. That's Mark Kennedy has passed away. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the Historic Bruce's Funeral Home here in Fort Dodge at 923 First Avenue South, Fort Dodge. You may contact the Historic Bruce's Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucesfuneralhome.com. Janice Valentine is coming up. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
What if I told you there was a way to step into another gear for your brain and be much sharper, more focused, and improve your memory to a level that you could only dream about and notice these results in 30 minutes? Hard to believe? Neuroscientists are calling this new brain discovery the biggest advancement in brain science to date. It's called Limitless, the brain pill of the future. Take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll transport your mind to a new level of focus and clarity you would have never thought possible.
I took Limitless and it started working in minutes. All of a sudden, it felt like a dark cloud had been lifted up right before my eyes. I have a mental clarity I've never felt before.
Biz execs, athletes, teachers, and students are calling Limitless a secret weapon for the brain. You have nothing to lose, so call now and find out how to get a free bottle today.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-605-1653. That's 800-605-1653. Get your free bottle for a limited time. Call now, 800-605-1653, 800-605-1653.
Have you ever thought about saying goodbye to your job? Just walking into your boss and saying, I quit. And how would you like to commute to work without ever leaving your home? Well, not long ago, a 39-year-old entrepreneur from a billionaire family spent $20 million in 3 years to find the best home-based business in North America. He researched 70 different companies, and when he found the only one that had real long-term potential, he bought it. And right now, he's looking for people to help him turn this company into his next billion-dollar success story. So if you're serious about making money from home without having to leave your home, well, grab a pen. Because I'm about to give you the address of a website where you can learn all about this unique and rare opportunity. Write this down: www.goherenext.com. Now get on your computer and go to this site now. Part-time or full-time, your income is based totally on your performance. Interested? GoHereNext.com and say goodbye to your boss tomorrow. GoHereNext.com.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
Who are you then? Just a fly in the ointment, Hans. The monkey in the wrench. The pain in the ass.
Michael Devine and Janice Valentine. Now at AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. It's 4:40, and we go now to the phones and our friend Janice Valentine. How are you, Janice?
Fabulous. How about you, Mike?
You are fabulous. The fabulous Janice Valentine is an attorney here in town. She's at Valentine Law Office PC, Janice Valentine, J. Valentine at valentinelaw.net, practicing primarily in workers' compensation and personal injury. You may contact her by calling 515-955-5544 or going to 415 the Boston Center, 809 Central Avenue, Fort Dodge. And she's at www.valentinelaw.net. And perhaps most important, she's been a regular contributor to this program for quite a long time. We're going to talk basketball, of course, Janice, but I've been following this murder case in Iowa, way down in Eddyville, southern Iowa, and I just I know you can't speak specifically, but a young man by the name of Jason, I shouldn't say young to me, maybe he's 40 years old. He was accused of killing his mother. Just a terrible set of circumstances. His father, Bill Carter, was convinced that his own son had killed his mother, his wife, of course. It's just an ugly, terrible story. There's no way to get around it. The elder Carter, Bill Carter, sued his son for the death of his wife and Jason's mother, of course. Jason Carter was found civilly responsible for his mother's 2015 shooting death. They are farmers, and I'm assuming the elder Mr. Carter was trying to make sure that his son did not retain any of the assets from the farm partnership. That's speculation on my part. But today, for the last few weeks, Jason Carter has been on trial for murder, the murder of his mother. And Jason Carter, as of today, has been found not guilty of murder.
Oh, my.
So here he is civilly responsible for his mother's death, but he was found not guilty today. How does this work out?
We're back to OJ.
Oh boy, aren't we? That's pretty strange.
Yeah. I hadn't heard that news. I've been kind of off. I've been off social media. I've got a project that I've been working on, and so I haven't really seen any of the news. So it really surprises me based on how at least the media was kind of projecting this story. So. Obviously, just like in the OJ case, one of the juries is not correct.
Yes, that's right.
And I don't know what evidence came in the criminal trial that may have been different in the civil trial because the burdens are different. And, in a criminal trial, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And in a civil trial, you have to just prove more likely than not. So there is a big difference in the burdens of proof between the two systems. So, maybe it was a case where the presentation of the criminal case just didn't push the jury over the edge of beyond a reasonable doubt, meaning basically 99% sure, yeah. Versus a civil trial where you have to prove basically 50.1%. So that may very well account for the differences, but certainly he's probably thankful that it went this way versus the other way because at least he has his freedom.
Oh yeah, that's life in prison, and in Iowa usually life in prison means life in prison. That's a penalty.
Well, for first-degree murder, it doesn't. There's no usual about it. I guess unless the governor commutes your sentence, but
which doesn't happen very often.
No. We're not known for commuting a bunch of murderers.
And that's good for us.
Yeah, it is. It should be that way. but absent that, life in prison is life in prison in Iowa. If you want to murder somebody, you need to take them across state lines to do it if you want
Yeah.
a chance at parole.
Go somewhere else. So I'm shocked to hear this verdict, really, because it's been pretty prominent on Des Moines television stations
It has been.
for quite a while.
Well, yeah, and I think the trial is being held in Council Bluffs, right?
I'm not sure. It doesn't really say here. I guess.
I know they had a venue change because of all the publicity surrounding it, which makes sense in this case. But I think it's been over in Council Bluffs, which I wonder if it's shocking they're able to even get to the courthouse over that way. But
Isn't that the truth? They've had terrible flooding over there.
oh my goodness.
Terrible flooding. Janice Valentine's our guest at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. She is an attorney. Would this mean, and I assume this is going to be tried by Bill or by the younger Carter, Jason, does this mean that Jason Carter can now contest the civil judgment?
No.
This does not mean that.
No, and unless he appealed timely, that I don't know the status of that. But the two systems really do not function together. So if he did not timely appeal his civil case, he has lost any right to question the jury on that matter. So it'll be, and again, I don't know the status of that. I'm not aware of whether he ever appealed that. Do you know?
I have no idea. No, I was just wondering if it seemed that this is what's so upside down about this. This is a crazy thing in our legal system. He has been found civilly for a murder. Apparently, he didn't commit.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see, again, with the burdens of proof, you can see how that can happen or could happen. And obviously it has happened. And this is not the first example of that. So, this isn't a situation where, much like in the OJ case where a lot of people presumed the differences were due to race or feelings about race between the two juries. Here, I doubt that would even will be mentioned, since I would assume that the jury was probably fairly lily white in Council Bluffs, Iowa. So yeah, it highlights that the system isn't perfect, but I certainly wouldn't want to go to a system other than a jury system. I wouldn't want, a king or a monarch to determine the fate, or, the legal system in North Korea, for example, where you pretty much are tried and hung within a day or so. So, again, not perfect. No doubt about that, not perfect, but definitely the best system, I think, in terms of adjudicating these types of issues, to have people like us deciding these issues versus an anointed one doing that.
Well, I'm not in favor of a monarchy either, Janice. Believe me, that's why I'm not in favor of the Iowa Supreme Court. You knew that was coming, didn't you? You knew that was coming. Well, this is interesting news in our state. The actor Bill Murray, who has had some of the greatest movies ever in my mind. Bill Murray is in Des Moines for the NCAA tournament, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he was sitting a few rows ahead of one of my friends, apparently. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. She left him alone, but his son is an assistant coach, I believe it is, for Louisville.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's the reason he's here. Other than that, I guess I don't even know who's won the games.
I don't either.
So I'll have to look at that. But yeah.
Anyway, University of Iowa, Cincinnati Bearcats. What are you thinking?
I have to go with Iowa.
You have to go with Iowa.
First of all, I'm obviously a huge Hawkeye fan, but second of all, I really hate Cincinnati. So that's been a long grudge thing. I don't care for them. I think they're dirty. And they've been consistently players that have been dirty, I think. So, so that's an easy pick for me. And if that messes up my brackets, I don't even care. But I couldn't pick Cincinnati.
You just couldn't do it.
So yeah. How about you? What do you think?
Oh, I think the Hawkeyes are going to beat Cincinnati. I think this is a lot of people are going Cincinnati. Well, yeah, we're going to get beat. I don't think so. Yeah, Cincinnati's a dirty team. Texas Tech was a dirty team, basketball and football. But Iowa State took them out in the basketball court in a tough game. But Iowa State took them out. And by the way, Iowa State's going to beat Ohio State. I think we're going to do all right in the opening round.
I think so. I really think Iowa State is going to go a ways.
I think they will too. If they look the way they did when they beat KU and K-State, they're going a ways.
Yeah, and I think that those wins convinced them that whatever they were told in the locker room about playing like a team sunk in.
Boy, it was time for that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and it sunk in, and they just looked like they were having a heck of a lot more fun when they were playing that way. I mean, because it is more fun to win, of course. So.
Yes, it is. It's much more fun. Now, Janice is on this time of day. She's usually on tomorrow, of course, because because Congressman Steve King will be here tomorrow. Now, I regret bumping anybody, but he is our congressman. Is there a question you would have me ask Congressman King?
I think I'll.
Oh, come on.
No, maybe this is a question that we should be asking all of our political leaders, but who's in charge of their accounts, like their social media accounts? And does no one censor these things or say, hey, do you really want to put that on there? I mean, we know nobody's censoring Trump's stuff, but I would think you would think long and hard before posting anything on social media if you're in that position. And so it's just kind of remarkable to me that some of these latest things, again, are popping up after the history. I mean, he's already gotten kind of slapped down. Not kind of, he has gotten slapped down with no committee assignments, that were stripped from him. And you would think in that position you wouldn't just lightly post things on social media that would further confirm the concerns of the higher ups. So I don't know. I don't know how you want to ask that question or if you even want to ask it, but I'm just curious if there is any other person that kind of looks over your shoulder and says, yeah, I don't really want to do that, or if they're applauding in the background.
Well, I can tell you this, Janice, and our guest is Janice Valentine. I can tell you this. The last time I talked to Congressman King was right after the big blow up of the New York Times, and I got him on the air, and the first thing that I said to him was, whatever staff member recommended to you to go talk to the New York Times, that staffer should be in trouble. And he said, well, that would be easy for me to blame a staff, but I did that myself. I set that up. I willingly went in and talked to the New York Times. And so if he's making that appointment, which I'm sure some of his staffers and supporters thought maybe he shouldn't have, maybe that would be poor judgment, because the Times hates him. And nothing good can come out of it. Nothing good from his perspective could come out of an interview with the New York Times. As a matter of fact, nothing good did. And he did it anyway. I guess that's on him all the way.
Yeah, and to me, and I'm not, I don't know better words to use here, but is that a sign of just being stupid, or is it that you're so egotistical you think somehow you're going to change the Times opinion, or it's just kind of baffling to me why you would electively put yourself in a position to just get thrown under the bus.
Some people just like to fight, Janice. Some people are just so competitive. They get too competitive. It's happened to me a couple of times on this radio program. I've gone completely over the top, but he's never told me that. I've never asked him that. I've never checked for the motivations, but Donald Trump is certainly that way. I mean, John McCain's been dead for 7 months. He's still kicking him.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know.
Let it go.
Really, the man is dead. Be decent about it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Oh, I never particularly liked John McCain, but I gave him a funeral. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
The people of the United States of America honored a man who, though he had flaws, and by the way, I wasn't a big fan necessarily of Senator McCain, but I could not deny his tremendous sacrifice, service, and patriotism and everything he did for our country. I could not deny it.
And,
How could anybody?
And I'm a big believer in, just because somebody dies doesn't make them all of a sudden a saint,
Oh, of course not.
Because there are some situations where you see that kind of happen. But in this case particularly, it's just so far over the top that it needs to be shut down.
Yeah, I would have to say that's,
Twitter needs to have an ability to just delete John McCain from his account as soon as it's typed in. It needs to just be gone. But
well, Twitter, there's a lot of cowardice in social media. I mean, the founder of Twitter was photographed eating in Chick-fil-A. He was having a chicken sandwich in Chick-fil-A, and some gay rights activists immediately attacked him on Twitter for eating in Chick-fil-A, which has been known to contribute to Christian organizations opposed to gay rights.
Right.
He folded like a house of cards. I mean, the state of masculinity in the United States of America is a little weak. If it had been me, I would have said, I went in for a chicken sandwich because I like chicken sandwiches. I really wasn't thinking of the politics of the owners or founders of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And by the way, I will go to a liberal place and have a steak if they serve one well.
Yeah.
Are we getting...
As we're sitting here, I just got to thinking, I find it interesting that of all the nickname people that Trump, he always comes up with nicknames. He's really never come up with one for John McCain. He always refers to him as John McCain.
Well, that's a good thing. I call him Big Orange personally.
Well, I mean, you mean Trump.
Trump, yeah.
You don't call McCain that.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, so it's interesting that as much hatred as he seems to have for him, he has not come up with a nickname for him.
Well, apparently it goes back to McCain being the deciding vote on Obamacare.
Well, it went far before that.
And it did. It did. McCain did not support him in the run-up to the election. As a point of honor, he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He thought Trump was, he thought Trump was a lot of things a lot of people think about Trump.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably right.
Well, a lot of that has been borne out. That's just, yeah.
By the way, Minnesota beat Louisville 86-76.
They did. Oh,
yes,
good.
They did. Yes,
okay.
They did.
Good.
Yeah, that just came around. So I guess Bill Murray will be leaving town.
Yeah, he says he's a one and done in Des Moines.
Well, that was Louisville used to be a big powerhouse. I don't see it that way anymore. But
I wonder if he flew. I bet he flew in on a big. I'd like to see his jet.
Bill Murray?
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I know he's a very wealthy guy, and he lives in Charleston, South Carolina. I guess he fell in love with the city, and he spends most of his time out there now.
Huh.
I guess I have. Have I been to Charleston? I drove. No, I've been to Columbia, South Carolina, but I don't really know anything about Charleston other than it is a lovely city.
Yeah, I've never been to either Carolinas yet, so I've got to get the East Coast taken care of here one of these years.
Well, I lived in North Carolina in the radio business. I was the boss of the beach, a kid from Algona, Iowa, out there on a rock and roll radio station. I was the boss of the beach right on coastal Carolina, which is a very beautiful area. Carolina is North and South Carolina are interesting places. There is no middle class there. You're either wealthy or you're still out in the cotton fields. I mean, it's really something to see. Lisa,
so they paid you to be wealthy out there?
No, they I can't say they did that. Can't say. Do you watch Hawkeye women's basketball? Because Megan Gustafson, according to informed sources, is the best female player in the country.
In the country, I know. And we said that first year. When we talked last week, I said she's the Zion Williamson of women's basketball. And that later that night, she was announced. So you had breaking news and didn't even know it.
And I watched a couple of games, and she is somebody like LeBron James and Zion Williamson. I mean, a player so good that nobody on either team comes close to her.
You're right.
All right. Janice Valentine, Valentine Law Office, has been our guest. Thank you so much, Janice, and thank you for changing times for me today.
Not a problem, Mike.
All right.
Take care.
You too. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Thank you very much for listening. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, Congressman Steve King will lead off the program tomorrow at 2 o'clock. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
It's everything digital on the Kim Commando Show every Saturday from 11 to 2 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
He targeted critics of the president. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The man who plotted bomb attacks against CNN and others pleads guilty in New York City. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, Cesar Sayoc entered the plea on all 65 counts he faced in a Manhattan courtroom. That eliminated the need for a trial, which had been set for July. Sayoc is accused of sending pipe bombs through the mail to several people, mainly prominent Democrats like former President Barack Obama and former Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton. Devices were also sent to CNN's New York studio and certain on-air critics of the president. Sayoc was arrested in late October. He's been in custody ever since. He could face life plus 10 years at his sentencing coming up in September, Lisa.
Gernal, a top House Democrat, says key White House staffers, including the president's daughter and son-in-law, are not preserving official communications. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
The House Oversight Committee Chairman Elijah Cummings says the personal attorney for Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner, both senior White House aides, told the committee the couple is not preserving all of their official communications. Cummings says the account appears to mean a violation of federal records-keeping law, but the attorney, Avi Lowell, says Cummings has mischaracterized his comments. Lowell says he was referring to Ivanka Trump's email use before September 2017. Since then, she has forwarded all official emails to her White House account. Cummings also says Kushner's use of the messaging service WhatsApp is raising security concerns. Lisa.
Jared, President Trump signing an executive order requiring colleges to certify they protect free speech on campus or risk losing federal research funding. At the ceremony, the president also said look into the student debt crisis and work to get it fixed. Wall Street, the Dow gained 216, the NASDAQ rose 109. This is Fox News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Let's talk credit card debt for a minute. If you feel you're carrying too much of it, you're not alone. The average household in the U.S. carries over $8,000 in credit card debt. Ready for some good news? With a cash-out refinance from Quicken Loans, you can quickly and easily put some of the equity in your home to good use by paying off a lot of that high-interest credit card debt. A great way to take cash out is with our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.5%, APR 4.78%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN to learn how taking cash out with a 30-year fixed mortgage might be the right solution for you. And for a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alice Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Captain Ryan Grunberg of the Fort Dodge Police Department reports that Kenyon Road Bridge in Fort Dodge has been reopened after a fatal accident closed the bridge for over an hour this afternoon, and there were 2 reported injuries. I'll have the details on tomorrow's morning news. Marion County man Jason Carter was found not guilty on Thursday in the 2015 murder of his mother, Shirley Carter. Stay tuned to Alpha Media for more information. A plan to renovate Olson Park in Fort Dodge will have to be delayed, according to Fort Dodge City Council member Terry Menke. Menke talked about the project yesterday on the Divine Intervention Show.
Plans, the engineer's estimate on the phases 3, 4, 5, which is basically those 3. There's several different phases to the park reconstruction over the next few years have been plotted out. The engineer's estimate was $380,000 to $430,000 for what we had asked for and designed. Low bid came in at $866,000, so twice plus a little bit of what the engineer's estimate was. So needless to say, that's not going to go very far because we do not have the money set aside for that. The money we have set aside, we had budgeted in the GEO bond about $950,000, but that was going to cover a lot more than what's up for bid right now. You know, it's going to delay the construction, delay the work.
The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has awarded Iowa funding to help the homeless in the state. Iowa Finance Authority spokesperson Ashley Jarrett says it will help what's called the Continuum of Care program, which will fund 47 homelessness assistance initiatives.
Highly competitive. Iowa was awarded $9.5 million statewide, which is an increase, and that's really to a credit of our amazing partners throughout the state that run these service programs for Iowans that need the help most to get back on their feet again.
Jared says the funding to Iowa has been increasing in recent years, and that is because the organizations have done a good job of showing the need. Authorities have released the name of a 70-year-old man whose body was found inside the charred remains of a house in central Iowa. The Des Moines Register reports that the body's been identified as that of Santos Guadalupe Calderon Alvarado. Firefighters found his body January 24th following an overnight fire in his home northwest of Boone. Boone County Sheriff's Deputy Andy Godzicki says Calderon Alvarado likely died of carbon monoxide poisoning in his sleep the night of the fire. He says investigators think the fire was started after something went wrong with the homemade wood-burning stove that Calderon Alvarado was using to heat the house. Godzicki says 4 or 5 dogs also died in the fire. Others escaped. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Clear skies and quiet this afternoon with highs around 54. West winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, lows level off around 28. Highs around 48. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine outside. Mainly sunny skies and calm Saturday.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thanks for joining us. Open phones this hour at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Well, one of the things we teach you around here is you pay a price to win. Live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. I want you to be outrageously generous. I want you to get into a position with wealth that you can give away every year more than you used to make. How would that be? Well, I got to tell you, it'll make your face smile. When you give that much, you just be smiling all the time. Because some of the happiest people you'll ever meet are generous people. And some of the saddest people you ever meet are selfish people that never give anything. But you get yourself in a position, you got $10 million, you got $5 million, you got $2 million, and you start giving serious amounts of money. I mean, you give $1,000 car to a single mom that needs a car, changes her life, and you don't even notice. Because you got enough that doesn't change your life. You could do 10 of them. It'd only be $10,000. And if you got $5 million, what's $10,000? Nothing. You'd have 10 people smiling, and you'd have a story in your heart. That's what generosity does. That's where I want you to get to. And I want you to get to where, after you've sacrificed and driven junky cars, that you get a good car. Your Dave car, when you get on the other side of this, needs to be your good car. Don't buy a junky car and call that your Dave car. That's not your Dave car. That's your you car. That's a I'm never driving like this again car. I'm going to drive like no one else so later I can drive like no one else, right? I was with a friend this morning. He's just bought a tractor for his farm. Spent $30,000 on a tractor. Interesting thing was his very, very, very small percentage of his income and of his life. And it's a nice big old tractor. We were having a guy moment looking at a tractor. And all boys like tractors. It's just part of life. A lot of girls like them too. So there you go. But anyway, it's pretty cool. I was looking at the pictures. I mean, some people sit at breakfast and show pictures of other things. Just got me and him are looking at tractors. So that's okay. I might be a redneck, so shut up. But yeah, enjoy your money. Oh, by the way, we announced today a way for you to enjoy your money. If you have lived like no one else, and now you're ready to live and give like no one else, you've gotten past baby step 3, you're out of debt, you have your emergency fund in place, we've announced today the Live Like No One Else cruise. Yeah, upscale, high-end cruise line, Holland America, next March. We're going on a cruise, baby. all the Ramsey personalities, me, Rachel Cruz, Ken Coleman, Chris Hogan, Anthony O'Neill, Christy Wright. Oh, and we're going to have a couple friends go with us. Jeff Foxworthy's going to go with us and do a routine or two. He's fairly funny, I hear. He's a great guy. And of course, we're also going to have Grammy Award winner, our friend Stephen Curtis Chapman's going to come. And Christian music icon's going to hang out with us and do some of the events. Manette Shahan, I never pronounced. Did I get close? I got close. Okay.